any utilities that need to depend on some type of electricity, right? So the electricity goes out, you got a blackout, boom. Now you got lights coming from a generator, because the generator is accumulating energy, okay? And I don't want to get into the whole thing about energy, because that's another interesting topic, which why a lot of us should be trying to avoid some of the tracks that they life. We'll just say life for the sake of conversation. And YouTube likes to flag channels and stuff, and people like to report you. So we're gonna keep it PG, but still be funky, because y'all gonna get every word of everything I'm saying. And like I'm saying, man, listen, when it comes to wealth, your wealth is who you are. You have never heard me say anything else different since the time I first put this channel together, and the one previous before that, which would make that almost 15 years ago. I first hit the platform. The first thing I said was knowing who you was and the importance of knowing who you are, okay? And to this day, even almost 10 years later, plus I'm making content, okay? It's still the same thing. Who are you? You don't know who you are. How can you present to somebody the best you when you don't know who the best you is? When I can see the dirt on your forehead and you can't. Okay, that's an analogy that I learned along my travels, talking to different people, you know what I'm saying, about the dirt on your forehead. So what that means, analogy, is basically that everybody can see something that you can't about yourself, okay? If I'm talking and I got, some spit on the side of my face, or, maybe I'm eating some food on the side of my face, right? And I don't see it. I'm going to keep making myself look bad, and everybody's looking and laughing at me, but they're not really laughing at what I'm saying. They're laughing at me because, the obvious thing, but it's obvious to everybody else, but it's not to me. But the thing is, I'm going to swear up and down that I'm cool. I'm going to swear up and down that my posture and my flow or my rhythm and my vibe, it's going to be on point. But if I don't see the dirt on my face, is it really on point? And that's basically what I'm saying, man. And for the last, I'll say about 5 years, man, since I left DC. I left DC permanently. I lived there 4 years before that, starting in 2017, 18, 19, 2020. When COVID hit, I cut. Y'all know at the time I was married, and I was in a troubled relationship with my kid's mother at that time. We're not no longer married. And we went to Mexico. Certain parts I'm not going to, disclose that type of information, but we was deep in Mexico. Put it like this, we was closer to almost leaving the border of Mexico, going into another country, which would probably be Guatemala, and then after Guatemala is Belize, right? Okay, so go look at your map, go do your work, do your homework, you know what I'm saying? And we was headed that way, but then when they lifted the COVID ban, I ended up coming back. So that whole COVID stuff that y'all was going through, you know what I'm saying, we didn't go through none of that, man. I took me and my family, we got up out of here, bro. And we'll probably go again, because we know that they're set to crash the economy this year. And a lot of people, y'all are looking for the last year, because y'all gonna wait till the last minute. I know how a lot of y'all do are procrastinators, chronic procrastinators. You're gonna wait till the last minute. Until then, you're gonna smoke your life away. You know what I'm saying? Doing drugs. You know what I'm saying? Looking for some cheeks to clap. You know what I'm saying? And looking for some ninja to snake, because that's what it's all about, right? That's all y'all interested in, is snaking a ninja, clapping cheeks, and doing rugs, man. Doing rugs, man. I gotta get used to this new algorithm for YouTube, right? So you're doing rugs, and when I say rugs, put the D in front of it. So you're doing that, and that's what it's all about. Every young person out here, I would say it is increasingly, because I won't say it's the majority, because you go into statistics, statistically it's not the majority, right? We know the bad apple is not the majority, but it's becoming to that point now, though. It is at an alarming rate, because it's almost 50-50. Now you got people that are delusional, crazy, heartless, disease-bearing, you know what I'm saying? and ratchet, just all together wretched. And I'm not giving an accurate account, but I would say that it's probably about it's probably about like a 55-45 split now. Okay? And Uncle Sam is allowing a lot of these things to happen so they can rush in and say they have to rescue a situation they created. I hate to say it like that for those that don't know, but Uncle Sambo is a lot of them are on trial, so you'll see where they're gonna shut the doors, and another shutdown that's coming. How do I know these things? Other than a source, a highly expert source that I have, which I'm not gonna go into that. I don't do he, she. I don't do all that. Okay, and it's not even that deep, but y'all don't even know who I'm talking about anyway. But the caliber of the person is a highly reputable person. I mean that their knowledge is based on their status, and their status is in government. And I got quite a few friends that have relinquished some information to me. Ever since then, we've got the Epstein files that has declared that they were eating kids. So you would have to go do your due diligence, because it's some of the most horrific things I've ever heard. But I'm not surprised. And when I say I'm not surprised, is that for a lot of times we've been seeing signs of things that are right in front of our face, okay, but hidden at the same time. So I've spoken on a lot of these things. I've been a whistleblower / truth blower, and I've just been trying to bring people up to date with pertinent information and important information too as well, that could be valuable at whenever the time is set for that information to be used, okay? But I'm widely known and recognized for the decoration, the status correction, which is pretty much a vague term for what I consider to be the Negro reclassification, but it's not limited to the Negro reclassification, and yes, it is still going on. I get customers, if not by the week, well, if not weekly, then bi-weekly. So it won't go another week or two before I get at least 2 or 3 customers, right? Like I usually get them on 1 week, or within a couple of weeks' time, I usually get somewhere between no less than 3 to maybe, it's no really cap. So, and that's without even moving a muscle. That's because the importance of it speaks volumes. The people that have went through the process, even halfway through the process, has benefited greatly by using some of the so-called immunities that, which in my opinion, immunities, but they were rights that people had at one point in time that don't have anymore. There's a lot of things you can't do now that we used to could do. If you go back even 30 years ago, I wasn't driving then though, but because I wasn't that old. I'm not that old. But if you go back 30 years ago, you didn't have to have a seatbelt. You didn't have to have insurance. And the only thing you would get pulled over for is speeding or some type of suspicion. Smoke coming out the car, blah, 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 whatever. Okay? Yes, racial profiling existed way back then in the 90s as much as I can remember. I grew up in the 90s. I was too young in the 80s to remember it, but, I do remember some things. I remember the afros phasing out and going into another phase where people started wearing more loosely like clothes, you know what I'm saying? And really, in my opinion, it became more derogatory fashion. More exploitation came in towards the end of the 90s, end of the 80s, going into the 90s. I know that when I was young, I remember seeing crack valves on the ground, and most all the people that were older than me, that were teenagers at that time, I looked up to, were into criminal activity, man. And I'm not gonna get into the details, but that's just what it was. And I seen where it was different to why is it changing to this? And I didn't understand politics at that time. You know what I mean? Being a young lad in the 90s. Then upon, going closer to the 2000s, we got a lot of false alarms. You fast forward up to 9/11. There was a lot of things going on. There was in a stranglehold at that time. That's probably been about 20 some years ago. And that's around the time where, I started, I got a car, I graduated from high school around that time. And yeah, I'm a little older than a lot of y'all. I'm up to a lot of y'all, noticed that. Um, you know, um, I probably got about 20 years on you. If you're 19, 17, 18, listen to this, I probably do got about 20 good years on you. You know what I mean? My son just died. He got murdered. And, I had a son at a young age. So he was approaching around that age, and actually he died at that age. But when I got to be 21, I got in so much trouble as a teenager. I was looking at 20 years federal time, and I ended up getting a break, and I went to the military. And the conditions was on the table for me to go to the military, so I didn't make a decision. Oh, I made it out. Let me go to the military. I'm scared. No, I had to go to the military. It was either that or go to prison at the time because I was young and I was really facing some serious charges. However, that was like my first felony charges at the time. Everything before that was just misdemeanors. So I had to make a decision, and the good thing about that was I had already took the test prior to those dealings, and when I took that test, the recruiter showed up. It was Navy recruiter showed up at my trial, and they set it up. I had an attorney, paid attorney, so I didn't have to go in there and confess. I didn't do none of that. Check my records. I ain't never told nothing. Ain't never ran. Ain't never did nothing. None of that to put smut on my name. This ain't that. But anyway, I did go through that. It was a tested trial at that time, period of time, and you know what I'm saying, I ended up going to, I went on to military, and I was stationed in California. Once I got out the military, I didn't see coming back here as a solution to do anything else different, so I ended up just going, staying in, once I got out of the military, I just stayed in California. I would say, man, the military really did put my boots on. I went on a tour, which was they call it South Pac or South Pacific tour, which is a deployment on ships. When you're in the Navy, you got to go on simulations, where we go and we simulate what we're gonna do in time of war, right? And while we're doing that, they also patrol the seas. You got to remember the Navy is the police for the sea. So we would literally catch fast goals, and people coming from Colombia with fast goals. Fast goals are gonna be like the little cargo boats, you know what I'm saying? They little ski-doos, they look like ski-doos, but they're not. Well, ski-doos is something that trails on the back of a boat. But the fast goals are gonna be like a two-man boat, for lack of better words, okay? And they're real small. Some of them got you where you can go down, and they got like a little window space, and you can kind of drive like that. It's cool as hell. But they was moving keys doing that, and we seized one of the fast goals with two people on the ship. Two people on their vessel, and they had 36 keys. We had to seize him and then take the keys. When they got to, the military seized 36 keys. When it was reported on paper how much they got and confiscated, they only had 20-something keys. Okay, and that's a fact. So I said that to say that, man, working in government and being on the side of both sides of the fence, I've seen a whole lot, okay? I was out there. Like I said, my son got murdered. My sister got murdered. Brutal. Headshot. My son, they put him in a car and crashed the car, and he was disfigured. So that was a closed casket. So, I speak about these things, man, because, I think the more I talk about it, man, I get it off my chest. But there's a lot of other things that go with that too. Even the fact that you might even have some friends and family that will even set you up for some of them things to even happen, right? And or be in a position where you feel like it's more than what people are telling you. You know what I'm saying? So I won't go into that because both of those are ongoing investigations still to this day. The guys they were apprehended. So I know people are like, well, somebody did something like that to my family, man, I'll do something to them. Well, they got caught like shortly right after that. Both of them did. Actually, the guy that did my sister, he got caught that same day. Actually turned himself in. Rightfully he should. I'm not saying that I'm a badass or nothing, but my sister and I we had different daddies, and her dad side of the family is notorious for slumping niggas. Just keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? They about that life. Both of them. They about that life. And you know, when it comes to your kids, man, and that I'm speaking on her father, which is you know, he partially raised us when he was around. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things, they leave scars on you, man. So what I did is I figured, you know, when I take them long looks at myself in the mirror, man, I figured knowing myself is the best thing that I can do and master that person before I try to master somebody else's style or somebody else's life. That's why you don't see or hear from me too much, especially on these lines, man, where I'm not perfect. You know, I look at a lot of other people, man, and you know, they got their channels together a whole lot more than what mine did at the time while I was trying. And you know, I just didn't invest in the right things and the right people. And I wanted to blame people so bad, but I picked the people in the path that I'm going on. So ultimately, it's still my fault. I feel that, you know, if you're dealing with bad peoples and bad company, bad company is only going to do what you allow them to do. But if you avoid these type of people, you won't have them issues. So when I seen them red flags, I kept waving it off like, yeah, okay, you know, let's just go and proceed. And then, you know, you got years of suffering, pain, a lot of tested times, man, where, you know, things didn't happen and just didn't material out to be what it was. So it was a crash. But, you know, I remember at one point in time, my stock was a very high commodity. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't want to leave back a legacy that was started, okay? Regardless of what people think, and people, you know, I'm not talking about in a YouTube sense, even though I started, a lot of people know me from the YouTube because that was my first channel before I started getting into, you know, financing. I started getting into a lot of other things too, you know, as far as affiliation, legal affiliation, because, you know, I'm rightfully not an attorney, so I would, you know, go for affiliate marketing, dealing with, you know, like, I don't know if I can say their name or not, but legal aid. I don't deal with them anymore, but I'll put that one out there. So I did affiliate marketing for these places, you know, where I would, you know, help people with their court process. And I got a 97% accuracy rate. There was a couple people that slipped through the handles, but from everybody's perspective, looking out, outside looking in, wasn't nothing that I did wrong. It's just people don't follow protocol. So here we go. And I still got this channel. I still got subscribers. And like I said, I've been dormant, and I've even gave y'all some promises that I was going to do this and do all that, especially around just recently, about a couple months. I think I dropped my last video where I came in and, you know, I said I was going to do a marathon with the channel. And rightfully I did. And what happened was, when a lot of people didn't participate as what I thought it was going to be, because I spent money to back up what I was doing. I had money set up for the platforms that I invested in. And when I didn't meet my target price for the amount of people that I thought they could bring value to the classes, I just did like a auxiliary of different things instead of just being on course of one thing. So nothing has changed with me. I still do the Negro reclassification. I still meet up with chiefs, not as much as I do. My schedule is primarily open for this year. I do got a couple of things zeroed in, but it wouldn't be anything to stop anything if somebody wanted to book me for a session, you know, or if you wanted to book me for consultation. I definitely still got that alive. So I'm gonna keep the channel alive, you know, and like I said, man, I don't want to leave a lot of y'all hanging, man, because a lot of y'all still call me, man, and you know, man, I love supporters, bro. That's the bottom line. These people support me. Ain't seen or heard from me in a year, and y'all still emailing me and texting me and calling me, man, and I got to give back, man. I can't turn my back on that. Just because I'm out here living my life and doing what I'm doing, I'm feeling like I'm a little better off than what I was financially. You know, if you want to go on a graph on good, bad, medium, you know, I was really pretty much struggling. You know, I wouldn't say that I was just like totally broke, but I definitely had to downsize a lot of things when, you know, you know, went through a divorce. You know, like I said, my son got murdered. My sister got murdered. One of my best friends got murdered. You know, I've had some deaths in the family. My best cousin. I've had 2 cousins die on me. You know, and that's no big deal. I mean, it is a big deal because people die, man. You know, I mean, we can't have everybody since the time of Moses, and I'm just making a name, to say that we all still here. You know, what would the world be like, man, if everybody was overly populated, where you had people that are 1,000 or 2, 3, 5,000 years old? You know what I'm saying? We can't have that type of, you know, you got to die. That's just what it is. You got to make room for the next generation. It's a rotation. However, you've been lied to about life and death, man. Nobody's been to hell that came back and swore to say that this is. So, you know, we're not going to get into belief stories, because if that's what you believe, then, you know what I'm saying, respect yourself enough to respect somebody else if they don't believe what you believe in. And, you know, black people have for too long been carrying on the the sins and the transgressions. Y'all help me out, man. Transgressions, sins. Get choked up, man. It happens, man. Okay, it happens, y'all. I need some more water too. Throat's dry. And the transgressions. There you go. Final. You got it. The transgressions. We've been carrying it on from slavery for too long, and thinking ignorant. And now the people that was so-called in slavery, and we already know slavery was not like what they said it was, and a lot of us see a lot of proof. Hell, you can even be a TikToker and see a bunch of videos of people are just supporting evidence, not just the S-beam, but you should have been aware of that, about the coming of new events and things of in the past is being revealed. It's everywhere, and everybody is being shocked all over the world. So not just here, but everybody's being shocked behind it. And these things are overwhelming, man. When you put all the stuff in order, then you just got to question what you believe nowadays. You got to. It's a responsibility, man. It's not a thing where you get spooked out, or you know, you got to get in defense mode. You know, your religion should be private anyway. Shouldn't be a thing where you got to debate, okay? Because you can't prove none of it. That's just the facts. And then a lot of us that could research further don't, to the point where if you research, you would come up with solutions that would probably lead you back to something totally different than what you said anyway. So a lot of us don't want to be reshaped and refined. You don't want to. You want to be conditioned and stay where you're at, but you want tinkerets and toys and gifts and be able to shop unlimitedly and be a slave on the slave compound. You don't want freedom. Okay? Y'all don't want freedom. Y'all just want to be a slave with gifts. You want to be on a slave. You want to be a slave with benefits. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Give me some money. That's it. Give me. So you go back and spend it and be broke again. You got to get out of that child mentality. A lot of y'all, man, are overly 18. I get that. But you're not mature. It's the bottom line. You're just really not, man. You're not at a mature. You're at an age of majority, but not the age of maturity. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely a difference. You haven't reached the threshold of adulthood. A lot of y'all haven't. You know what I'm saying? And y'all still scrambling around, lost. So, like I said, I'm Big Bro. I ain't got all the bells and whistles on this channel. Like I said, I'm not going to keep any promises that I'm going to do this and do all that, but I will throw a link. So once the video downloads, once I end the live, you can come back to the live. I'll repost it and put I'll put the links in there for where you need to be at. I'm in Telegram. I use that more often because, you know, I still got people there too as well. And I got people here, you know, I got people on just about everything, social media, including Instagram. And I'm going to put together this platform and merge it with the one that is existing now that I use as technically my backup channel. Like I spoke before, but the ones that weren't on here when I first said it, that my backup channel is my primary channel. And this used to be my primary channel now is my backup channel. I don't hardly get on here. So, but I know there's people on here that still tap on. I want to be able to get y'all so I can get y'all on here and get y'all caught up with the classification, because that needs to get done. Okay, Trump is in office right now, but we don't know how long that's gonna last, and he's running. I can tell you that right now. It's He's due to go to court, which I don't know is these YTs, man, is out here charging people when they go into court. The same way they did Bush, they gonna get him up out of here. They impeaching him, but it's just quietly. Y'all don't hear about it. Why? Because they think it's gonna disrupt the public, and they don't want to cause things in the public. And y'all don't know this. A lot of y'all don't know this. Y'all on TikTok, man, running around here like space ghosts because you're dead. You ain't got no type of mind, no type of, you're just wandering. That's it. Aimlessly. Wandering around aimlessly with no direction. A lot of y'all, man, brainless and delusional. You know what I'm saying? And at a very scary rate, because then you'll kill for it, you'll die for it. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have any substance though. So you'll pew pew, you know what I'm saying, and unalive somebody basically just based on emotions and feelings. That's it. Because I could be right and say, hey man, you acting like a bee. You know what I'm saying? You know, the bee, a female dog. And say that you was acting like a bee. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was a female situation and you was just overly doing something and you made yourself look incorrect. And I say, hey, you a bee. Now, as a brother, you should have took that two ways. You should have been like, hey man, don't call me no bee. But then at the same time, be able to check yourself to say, am I acting like one? You know what I'm saying? Now, niggas will just go straight to the gun and just do you. Meanwhile, they sitting up in the county, okay, downtown, on the phone crying, thinking about what they can do, wish they could take it back. But then when reality said it's over with, that's it. You ain't getting out of that. You ain't getting out of that. And I'll tell you right now, right now, going to the county would be the worst thing you could do for years, a countless amount of years, and be stuck in a situation like that and knowing that you'll never be able to see the light of day. Because a lot of things that are reshaping the world right now is taking us to a whole nother thing where life ain't gonna be the way it used to be, the way we used to know it as being. And you can go back and play this video 2 months from now, and you're gonna see why I said that, and then you're gonna agree with me. I've always been a beacon of light, a bearer of the truth, trying to keep us down, man, as real as I could, as real as I can, and I'm gonna continue to do that. But you know, I got to keep it moving, man. For the ones that don't want to move, man, y'all just gonna get left. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes, man. So, but anyway, like I said, I'm gonna throw the link in here. There was a few announcements that I had, but I pretty much kind of skimmed over whatever I want to do. I just basically just want to move everybody to the other channel. So once I stop this live, and I ain't drunk now, my mouth is dry. You know, I'm a bachelor, so I ain't got no, ain't nobody feed me grapes and fanning me up. You know what I'm saying? That ain't happening. I gotta get my own, do my own, get my own, and that's fine, man. And I'm cool with that. Just got me a new whip, and hey, man, life is great, man. I'm just telling y'all, man. You know, it feels good being an entrepreneur. Things finally paying off, and like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in there, and I'll show you my Discord up. And people ask me, that's what I wanted to say. My Discord should be up by the end of next week. Reason why is because I didn't want to have to do any of the heavy lifting. I paid somebody. So now it's like, okay, I pretty much got to move based on the time that he says, and, you know, or they put it together. Because once I paid, I'm not, you know, and I'm cool with the time because it hadn't been that long since I paid and, you know, for a subscription to get a Discord set up, that and a Patreon. So I had that coming. I got some equipment coming in, man, you know. Like I said, I'm gonna do this one more time for y'all. Get left or get lost, man. That's just what it is, man. Y'all already know what it is, your dog. I know y'all still rocking with me, man. Creek Running Water coming at you again with another dope build. High vibrations to the family. Peace to the guides and goddess. Giving thanks to the great spirit that you here. I'm here, and the ancestors, we still here. And even though we done been through some dire situations, man, we gonna continue to be here and rock out. I'm gonna put the channel on, link in the other channel, man, description, man. Y'all be cool, man. All right. Be smooth. I'm gonna check back with y'all in a minute.